go. This is Valley News Live at 9 on Fargo CW.
We begin tonight with a developing story out of Wadena, Minnesota. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Wadena Police Department is investigating what they are calling a possible homicide. Here's what we know at this hour. Police responded to the 300 block of Bryant Avenue Southwest in Wadena just after 2:30 this afternoon. Police say that's when dispatch got a 911 call of a man with a gun. When they arrived on scene, they saw a man running from the home and the body of a deceased woman. The man then drove west onto Otter Tail County. He was taken into custody after he crashed into another car on County Road 75 in Otter Tail County. Now, both names are being withheld for now, so be sure to stick with Valley News Live for updates on this developing story. A local organization is empowering people with disabilities to exercise their right to vote. Community Living Services in Fargo works with dozens of adults living with disabilities. They try to improve their lives and help them be more independent. And part of that, preparing them to vote if they so choose. Valley News Team's Nicole Johnson reports.
Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are only the little part, of it. There's both sides of the page to be filled out.
The presidential candidates are being talked about a lot, but the local stuff on the 2016 ballot is what we should be discussing, according to Chip Hansen.
Even though it's a paragraph or too long, it might still not be clear.
He says the measures are difficult for anyone to comprehend and especially challenging for those who live with a disability.
People that happen to have disabilities are people, and their voice needs to be heard just like everybody else's.
Hansen has been leading classes for adults with a wide variety of disabilities, helping them understand what's on the ballot, who stands for what, how to fill it out, and empowering them to choose for themselves.
You can be a part of the community in a small way by casting your vote.
And if it's a physical disability preventing you from filling in the bubbles, Hansen says make a call to your polling place because your vote matters.
It's a right that's given to you, no matter who you are.
Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Hansen says that it's sad some people are choosing not to vote at all. We talked to people living in our community about why they're choosing not to vote. That's coming up after we take a look at weather. Also coming up on Valley News Live at 9, the search continues for this missing teen. What you need to know in the disappearing case of Jeremy Jourdain. And border security was a hot topic during the presidential campaign, with most of the talk about the southern U.S. border. But what about the U.S.-Canadian border? Valley News Team's Bradford Eric investigates. But first, today it was a little bit cooler, but we were really spoiled with our temperatures this weekend, so we can't really complain.
Record-breaking highs over the weekend. We got to the low 60s, 61 degrees, our official high here in Fargo. That's about 15 to 16 degrees above where we should be at this time of year. So still well above normal. And if you like that, I got some good news on that 7-day forecast. Currently, it has cooled down a bit from that high of 61 here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. We're down to 48 degrees. 43 down in the Wapton-Breckenridge area, also 43 in Thief River Falls, 37 Langdon, 39 up in the Devil's Lake region. It was breezy for much of the day, but those winds continued to slowly subside, still gusting over 20 miles per hour over in the Bemidji area, but they'll become light as we head towards tomorrow morning and remain on the light side tomorrow. Out of the west early on, shifting to the south later on in the day around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hardly a cloud in the sky, and we'll continue to see mostly clear skies as we head through tonight. A lot of sunshine for your Election Day Tuesday. It'll be kind of chilly to start off the day, but a nice warm up as we head through the afternoon and evening hours. Underneath what clouds we do have, no precipitation out there. None is anticipated. In fact, most of the northern plains quiet. It's not until you get over into parts of northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, where you're seeing some rain showers, and off towards the south, more rain over parts of Iowa, eastern Nebraska, eastern Kansas, the show me state of Missouri, and the Sooner state of Oklahoma, and some flash flooding ongoing just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area with a lot of heavy rain into that area. For us, no rain to speak of. In fact, hardly a cloud to even worry about as we head through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. You may see a touch of fog, but the wind may stay up just enough to keep that from forming. But you could see a little bit of patchy fog as we head through the late night hours and early morning hours. Overnight lows into the 30s and maybe a few spots touching the freezing point across the far north. But with lots of sunshine tomorrow, we're going to see a nice warm up by lunchtime. into the 40s and even some low 50s, and we'll continue to warm up into the mid 50s and upper 50s across the south, some lower 50s across the north. And by evening time, once we lose that sun, we cool down pretty quickly back into the upper 30s to low 40s. Here in Fargo, we start off the day on the chilly side, some upper 30s, but by lunchtime, we'll warm that up into the upper 40s, and then we'll top out the day in the mid 50s. Picture of the day, a gorgeous shot. A nice sunset, a fiery sunset in Clearbrook, Minnesota. Thanks to Oliver for sending that in. We're going to use that at the background to our 7-day forecast. Weather-wise, not a whole lot going on over the next 7 days. Mid-50s for your election day, some low 60s, another warm one on Wednesday. Thursday, a nice day, a bit cooler on Veterans Day. Tailgating will be a little bit cool to start off with, but we'll warm up pretty quickly. And the supermoon, it's going to be huge.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it's going to be phenomenal. That comes out on Monday.
I just love it. Well, Robert, have you already voted yet, or are you waiting
not.
till
I'll be
tomorrow?
out tomorrow morning.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
That makes both of us. Well, whether you voted early or if you're like Robert and I who are voting tomorrow, many know the candidate they want as our next president. But what about those who are deciding not to vote? Valley News Team's Ivana Simic tells us why some people in the Red River Valley are choosing not to vote.
For some, choosing a candidate to vote for is easy.
I just turned 18 this year and I fell on an election year, so that's really exciting, and I think it's really important for people to vote.
For others, they've decided not to vote at all.
I don't believe in any of the candidates. We need to lower the taxes down. We need to have better jobs and stuff. And I don't think she's going to do it. And I like the Trump that has the ideas, but still, I don't like what he said about women, veterans, Asians.
Some people I spoke with say they aren't voting because the candidates aren't well versed on the issues.
Yeah. Instead of the problems of our country. Finding out something bad on them and pushing it instead of how about resolve our issues or the problems we have.
And while many in the Red River Valley say they don't like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, they say it is our right as American citizens to vote.
It might not be the prime nominees that we're going to be voting for, but we have to be able to vote. If you don't vote, don't talk to me about the economy or, where your taxes are going. You have to vote. You have to have a say, or this really isn't the democracy that we want to live in.
Ivana Simic, Valley News Live.
And be sure you're watching Valley News Live for your election coverage tomorrow night. Mike Morkin, Andrea Larson, and Chris Berg will keep you up to speed from here in the studio on the hottest races in the Valley. We'll also have reporters with Democrats and Republican parties, not only locally, but also in New York in both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton watch parties. Our coverage begins at 5 p.m. on KVLY and at 5:30 on KX4. These 3 men are facing assault charges after a fight outside the Cass County Courthouse this afternoon. The 3 were arrested and charged with misdemeanor simple assault. The fight still remains under investigation. A man has been charged after court documents say he admitted to shaking an infant. Reese Young is charged with 1 count of child abuse and 1 count of aggravated assault. The documents say the charges stem from Young grabbing a 2-month-old by the ribs and shaking him, causing a brain bleed and extreme pain. Young said he was stressed and admitted to shaking the baby in his crib around 3 this morning. The search continued today for 17-year-old Jeremy Jourdain after he vanished after a Halloween party in Bemidji, Minnesota last week. Today, 50 people were out searching for Jourdain. Friends and family say the night he went missing, he might have started making the 14-mile walk to his home in Cass Lake, where he lived with his cousin. But an extensive search of the main route to Cass Lake turned up empty. Jourdain is described as 6 feet 4 inches tall, 165 pounds, and was last seen wearing a gray Nike sweater and blue jeans. Now, if you have any information about this case, you are asked to contact Bemidji Police at 218-333-9111, or you can contact the family directly at 218-760-7818. Both of those numbers are on your screen. There's an 161-mile stretch of border between Canada and the United States, which is made up of farm fields, dense forests, swamps, lakes, rivers, ravines, and hills, all of which agents in the Grand Forks sector are responsible. With such a large area to cover, there are serious challenges trying to keep both sides of the border secure. So just who and what is out there keeping us safe? Valley News Team's Bradford Eric gets a first-hand look at the 49th parallel and those on the front lines of the war on terror, thanks to the Border Patrol.
We are going to build the wall 100%, and Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Don't worry.
The focus of this election cycle has all eyes looking south at the U.S.-Mexico border. But what about our northern border? How safe is that?
This is just a vacant lot, but it's one of our major thoroughfares for traffic going north.
I started my journey at a now abandoned border crossing at Noyes, Minnesota. There's just a gate keeping people out.
So a lot of the Somalis we were talking about, they'll come through here, as you can see, because it's just a straight shot in.
He says many times they encounter more people flowing north into Canada than the other way around. The Border Patrol's own stats show almost 800 illegal aliens were caught last year, with almost 2/3 of them Mexicans. And with Canada lifting visa requirements for Mexican nationals next month, the fear is that illegals already deported by the U.S. will simply walk across the largely unguarded areas. There are reports, too, of as many as 50 terror organizations operating in Canada.
And by building these relationships with them, they're able to notify us of things happening within our general area's responsibility to allow us to more effectively patrol the border.
Majors says because the agents live in the small border towns, what's known as the resident agent program, the residents trust them and are more than willing to call when something doesn't look right.
The thing about national security, it's all of our interests.
We went past smaller border crossings like this one at Netchie, North Dakota, before heading to the Pembina Gorge. It's steep, rugged terrain, and our guide says there are trails through it connecting both sides of the international border. But it's got to be an easy avenue for someone to run a pound of cocaine or China white or something across.
Is it easier than crossing a place where there isn't a road? The answer is absolutely. However, once again, it's a matter of enforcement.
Our last stop began with this.
This doesn't look like it's going to be simple.
A hike through a ravine and creek bed, coming out the other side to wide open farm fields. This is the international border, separating the U.S. from Canada. Yes, that small grass line is the border. I'm straddling the border itself right now.
I would say that, yes.
So half of my body is illegally in another country.
I would say that's probably about right.
Looking over the nothingness and how easy it is to cross the border, I asked what's to stop an ISIS terrorist from simply walking through the grass.
Us is the answer to your question. We're America's first line. We're the front line. But up here, the distance is an ally to us. We're able to respond because of the response or the time it takes for someone to travel from one point to another.
We passed dozens of other Border Patrol agents throughout the afternoon, and their presence is certainly known in the communities along the border. Would they like more resources? Everyone I asked answered yes, but right now they feel they're doing an effective job keeping you and me safe. Bradford, Eric, Valley News Live.
We asked Border Patrol agents what they thought of Donald Trump's comments and congressional testimony painting the northern border as being a bigger security risk. They told us they can't discuss politics and their main mission will always be stopping terrorism. By the way, Bradford reported earlier tonight on the problems associated with border security. If you'd like to see that, go over to valleynewslive.com. Over 50 people were expected to show up in court today over the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. So did they show up? That's still ahead tonight. And we're just hours away from Election Day. What you need to know before you head over to bed. That's next on Valley News Live at 9.